The inability to fight did not make one weak. Strength could be found in intellect just as often as physicality, even in a cutthroat place such as the Seven Kingdoms. Sometimes, such a demeanor was preferable by those maidens who sought to build and maintain lasting families and homes. But in Westeros, the way of the sword was often king, and so such academic men were scarce. One such man held a prominent position in the Reach, however. This man was Willas Tyrell. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. As the heir to Highgarden, Willas Tyrell was a valuable and valued man, even though he could never become a knight. Instead, he devoted himself to his studies, as well as other immobile practices. His temperament was calm and reserved, and he was revered by family, friends, and rivals alike. For one daughter of Winterfell, he represented a welcome respite from his fellow nobles who were ruthless and selfish. But it was not to be, and so Willas remained unmarried, an amorphous presence occupying the great seat of the Southwest. So, who exactly is Willas Tyrell, and why is he such an interesting character? Let's explore. Willas Tyrell was born between 273 and 276 AC in Highgarden to Lord Mace Tyrell and Lady Allery Hightower. He was the oldest child of the pair, with 3 younger siblings. He was followed by brothers Garland and Loras, and a single sister, Marjorie. As the eldest son, he bore the responsibility and title of heir to Highgarden since his first day, a burden he never bore lightly. In his early teenage years, Willas entered his first tourney as a squire, and was pitted against Prince Oberyn Martell of Dorne. The Viper quickly overwhelmed the boy, who fell along with his horse during one of the tilts. Willas's foot became stuck in the stirrup, and he pulled his horse down atop him, severely breaking his leg and leaving him crippled for life. The tensions between houses Tyrell and Martell were already high, and this incident did little to abate them. Willas, however, was not embittered toward Oberyn, and the two remained friends into adulthood. They shared interests in horses and hawking, bonding over more mundane niceties than those of the tilts. When not studying animals, Willas turned to scholarly endeavors, sharpening his mind like the sword he could not wield. Yet along with his blossoming brain, he possessed too a pure heart. As a boy, his brother Garland was rather large, and though he would grow to be a renowned fighter, few could foresee such a transformation. To preemptively save his brother from an unflattering moniker, Willas dubbed Garland the Gallant, an epithet that stuck. Despite his positive reputation, though, Willas remained unmarried into his adult years. Princesses and ladies and maidens attempted and made visits to Highgarden, but none exchanged cloaks with the hobbled young heir. Willas Tyrell possessed the general features of the Tyrell family, with black-brown hair and the recognizable green and gold garb. His defining characteristic was of course his crippled and twisted leg, which kept him from most physical endeavors. He was mild and witty, with a mind for books, horses, and hawking. As the events of A Song of Ice and Fire began to unfold, however, he remained at his home castle in the Reach, reluctant to travel or take part in the mess of politics. Though Willas Tyrell does not appear in the flesh in any of the novels of A Song of Ice and Fire, he is heavily mentioned and involved behind the main narrative, beginning in A Storm of Swords. His grandmother, Lady Olenna Tyrell, sees plainly the plight of young and abandoned Sansa Stark. The girl was once betrothed to King Joffrey Baratheon, but is cast aside in favor of Marjorie Tyrell. As a saving grace, Olenna makes arrangements for Sansa to be ferried off to Highgarden, where she will wed Willas. After the horrors she has witnessed, Sansa is grateful for such a gesture, but in her ecstasy, she passes the news on to her secret savior, Sir Dantos Hollard. Thus, news of this betrothal then reaches Lord Peter Baelish, who informs Lord Tywin Lannister himself. Intent not to let the Stark girl slip between his fingers, the king's hand hastily has her married to his dwarfish son Tyrion Lannister, foiling the Tyrells and squashing Sansa's sliver of hope with one fell stroke. Intent to take advantage of his position, Tywin then offers Cersei as an option in marriage to Willas, mainly to quell the rumors of her incest. But at Olenna's behest, the ruling family of the Reach refuses. In A Feast for Crows, Willas continues to act as seated ruler in the Reach as his father and the rest of his family place politics in King's Landing. Yet, a threat arises to his calming presence, as the Ironborn begin to harry the Shield Islands by command of their new king, Euron Greyjoy. Willas sends word to his bannermen and across the realm, but is thought an incompetent fool by Cersei. At first, she refuses to send him aid, but after the siege of Dragonstone is lifted in A Dance with Dragons, the Redwyne fleet are freed to aid their allies on the far coast, and there Willas sits with twisted legs still, not a knight, but a true man prepared to defend his house all the same. Willas Tyrell has no knightly title to accompany his maimed leg, but he possesses a life many would envy. In Highgarden, he devotes himself to studious matters and tame hobbies in times of peace, and deliberates as the eldest son of House Tyrell in times of unrest. But at all times, Willas is seen as a gentle man with a good heart. Across the continent in King's Landing, Sansa Stark is surrounded by men and women alike who are known for anything but empathy. Her betrothed is a twisted, pampered child. Her guardians are the rivals of her own house, intent on seeing her subdued. Her family has all but disappeared into the shadows or into the nether of the world beyond. To Sansa, Willas Tyrell represents an escape from it all. The heir to Highgarden has yet to appear in the flesh in A Song of Ice and Fire, and so he is primarily depicted through Sansa's point of view. At first, the girl believes she yearned for a knight in gleaming armor, but after her trials and tragedies suffered in the capital, the life of comfort and calm led by Willas has greater appeal. And surely Willas would have made for a fine knight, akin to his brother Garland, if not for the injury suffered in his youth. Nevertheless, his mere mention brings comfort and hope to the distraught daughter of Winterfell, when so little else can. She has never met Willas, but his reputation precedes him, even so far away. However, fate and Lord Tywin Lannister quell the uprising of the Dream, and Sansa is punished further for her efforts. The prospect of uniting with the man of crippled body and good heart passes Sansa by, and Willas remains alone and watchful over his father's threatened lands. Though the fortitude of the preeminent Lord of the Reach was questionable, that of his children was universally praised. Though the younger siblings garnered most of the fame, eldest son and heir Willas Tyrell may have been the greatest amongst them. He was kind and intelligent, friendly yet boisterous when required, and to some, he was more. Willas was a chance at freedom untouched since an arduous journey south. He was a respite, or maybe just a thought of a respite, from the drudgery of existence. But it was not to be. As quickly as he was presented to a potential bride, the opportunity was rescinded by force, and the heir to the Reach remained more ambiguous idea than man. In this way, Willas Tyrell was presented as a false hope. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts, I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here, I'd love to have you. Visit my website, russellawellsauthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more, and sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.